Are you ready for your next act? You guys are so fun. Okay, give it up for the very talented and the super hilarious Nick, everyone!
Okay, so you're probably looking at me thinking, this guy's an intellectual nerd. If you aren't thinking that, you should, because that's exactly what I am. I'll prove it to you. You know those tomatoes that you put in your salad? Did you know that tomatoes are an aphrodisiac? This isn't a well-known fact, and I think it should be. Let me explain it. I took a course in nutrition, and we learned all about the mineral zinc. Really good mineral. But I thought the most important thing about zinc is that it's the chief mineral for sex. Every time you have an orgasm, you use a whole lot of zinc. So if you want to keep having orgasms, you need to keep eating zinc. And tomatoes are a good food source of zinc. So that's what tomatoes have to do with sex and orgasms. The guys who do nutrition have a boring job. They tell you what you have to eat. But they have a raunchy side to them too. And they sometimes call zinc vitamin F. Now, this thing about zinc and tomatoes and orgasms raises some interesting questions. Suppose I buy a can of no-name tomato soup to get the zinc to have an orgasm. Does that mean I'm going to yell Galen Weston's name? Galen! And if I do, does that mean I'm getting fucked twice by Galen Weston? Did I say that? Anyway, enough about that. I'm not a very practical kind of person, and I sometimes get myself into really strange situations because I didn't think something through. For years, I've had a great big drowning phobia. I'd have these massive panic attacks whenever I got into the water. So the weird thing is, and I still don't understand how my brain is wired, if I can put my feet down and touch the bottom, I'm fine. But when I'm in deep water, I have panic attacks. So if I swim from the shallow end to the deep end, it gets more and more panicky the further down the pool I go. This played hell with my swim lessons, but it didn't stop me from having swim lessons. I remember when I was in elementary school, Mr. Licari, the gym teacher, was teaching swimming. He was one of the many overweight gym teachers that I had in school. Not that that's a big problem. It's very possible to be fit and fat at the same time. I know that because I'm one of those people. But he was trying to be encouraging. He had his heart in the right place. You can do it, you can do it. Well, I couldn't do it, and all he did was humiliate me. So years later, I read about this spiritual retreat in the Bahamas. There were the people that go on it swim in the Atlantic Ocean, and they're going to go over standing stones, an underwater Stonehenge, and look at them. And they're going to swim with dolphins. Great program for somebody who doesn't have panic attacks in the water. So we get down there, my group, and it's been really windy, and there's big waves crashing on the shore. So my group says, that looks like fun. Let's dive into the waves. And I got into the spirit, but I was a little bit nervous. Like I said, I'm going to make sure I don't find myself in deep water. Good plan, but it didn't work. I caught a great big wave. Woo! Great feeling. And then I put my feet down to make sure I could find the bottom. Couldn't find the bottom. Starting to get panicky. Right at that moment, one of my group yells out, "Nick, are you okay?" And I yelled, "Help!" And I kept yelling, "Help!" loud, because the waves were making a lot of noise. So my group figured out that I was in some trouble. Turns out one of my group was a former lifeguard from 20 years ago, but she remembered what she had to do, and she got me to the shore. I wasn't very gracious. I should have said, "Thanks for saving my life," but instead it came out like, "That was embarrassing." I don't know how deep the water was when she rescued me. It could have been 5.5 feet deep. I'm 5'5", so that might be why I couldn't put my feet down and find the bottom. So the other weird thing about my phobia is that I don't have it when I can hold on to something. So for the next couple of days, I made sure I could hold on to something. They had this lifeline to throw out if you were in trouble. I held on to it before I got into the water, but it worked. Then another time, the only thing I had to hold on to were these big, humongous seaweeds. They were like underwater trees. So picture this. I'm going from seaweed to seaweed, reaching out, holding on to these seaweeds for dear life so that I wouldn't have a panic attack. And it worked. So the next day we go on the dolphin swim. These dolphins have a contract with the boat operator. They know they're supposed to show up and entertain the humans who come out in motorboats. They didn't show up today. The boat driver looked pretty even-tempered, but he was probably thinking, I'm going to sue them for breach of contract. The only problem with that is that he probably would have had to sue them in a dolphin court. I don't think they were going to come to a human court. And it might be hard to give testimony when your mouth and nose are filling up with seawater. So at 15 minutes to sundown, when he's just about to pack it in, the dolphins showed up. So we all get in the water, and I get in the water, and I swim out, put my face in the water and swim out. Swim, 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 swim. Looked out of the water, saw that I swam a long way in the wrong direction, and do you think I had the good sense to have a panic attack now? Not a chance. I put my face back in the water, went back to where I was supposed to be going, swim, 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 swim. And there are the dolphins, right like I said, right like they said I was going to see them. They told me that if you dive into the water and chase after the dolphins, they really like that. Well, there's no way I was going to do that. But they also said the dolphins come to you if you're shy. So I'm floating in the water, and all of a sudden I get a bump. What happened there? Did I crash into one of the people in my group? So I looked around. Nobody in my group was anywhere near me, so it must have been a dolphin. He came up and gave me a playful nudge. Those dolphins knew what to do with a neurotic like me. Unlike Mr. Licari, the gym teacher, unlike my mom and dad for sure, they didn't know what to do with their neurotic son. So the next day, we do another dolphin swim, and it didn't go as well. I had a panic attack. The lifeguard had to come in and rescue me. They were royally pissed off. They were looking forward to a nice, quiet boat cruise, and I made them do the work they were getting paid to do. So, all in all, I was out in the Atlantic Ocean for 5 days swimming in the ocean, and I only had 2 panic attacks. I think I did pretty damn good. Mr. Licari would have been proud of me. Thank you.
Keep it going for Nick, everyone, one more time.